Hi, welcome to our channel of ignou audiobooks. Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Social Sciences, SOSS, Master's Degree Programs, MA in Psychology, MAP, Second Year, MPCE 0 to 1 Counselling Psychology, Block-2 Counselling, Models and Approaches, Unit-3 Drama and Art Therapy in Counselling, 3.0 Introduction. Counselling is both an art and a science. It is scientific in its development of theoretical approaches to working with individuals and groups. It is artistic in the way in which it uses timing and emphasis to implement certain methods with particular individuals. For effective counseling, art and science must work together for the welfare of client as well as counselor. Artistic methods and therapies can be important and useful for the growth of counseling profession because it may promote new insight. The creative arts have a significant contribution to make to counseling theory and practice. Creative arts refers to art forms including visual representations like painting, drawing and sculpture, literary expressions, drama, and music that help the individuals become more aware of themselves or others. In counseling, creative arts are defined as arts that are employed in therapeutic settings to help facilitate relationships between counselors and clients. Various art forms have been employed in counseling. The most widely used are visual art, psychodrama, poetry, dance and music. This unit will discuss art and drama therapy 3.1 objectives. After completing this unit, you will be able to times discuss the concept of drama therapy, times define art therapy, times explain the steps involved in the process of art therapy, times describe 5-stage theory, and times explain art and drama therapy techniques. 3.2 Drama therapy. Drama therapy is defined by the National Association for Drama Therapy as the systematic and intentional use of drama theatre processes, products, and associations to achieve the therapeutic goals of symptom relief, emotional and physical integration, and personal growth. The word drama comes from ancient Greek and means quite literally things done. Harrison, 1913. Drama therapy uses action techniques, particularly role play, drama games, improvisation, puppetry, masks, and theatrical performance, in the service of behavior change and personal growth. It is an active approach that helps the client tell his or her story to solve a problem, achieve a catharsis, extend the depth and breadth of inner experience, understand the meaning of images, and strengthen the ability to observe personal roles while increasing flexibility between roles. The result is an active, experiential process that draws on the person's capacity for play, utilizing it as a central means of accessing and expressing feelings, gaining insight. Practicing successful approaches to difficult situations. It has its roots in religion, theatre, education, social action, and mental health therapy. Early humans began to make art, that is, paintings, sculpture, music, dance, and drama about 45,000 years ago. The origins of the arts and religion seem to be intertwined because the arts naturally provided effective symbolic ways to express abstract religious ideas. Dance and drama, in particular, were extremely useful in rites to create sympathetic and contagious magic as well as to embody myths and rituals. The first written theoretical account of drama therapy can be found in connection with Greek theatre. In his Poetics, Aristotle says the function of tragedy is to induce catharsis, which is a release of deep feelings, specifically pity and fear, to purge the senses and the souls of the spectators. Aristotle, trans. 1954. According to Aristotle, the purpose of drama is not primarily for education or entertainment, but to release harmful emotions in an individual, which in turn will lead to harmony and healing to the individual as well as in the community. Bohl, 1985. Drama therapy applies techniques from theatre to the process of psychotherapeutic healing. It emerged as a field in the late 1970s from hospitals and community programs where it was first used with clients to produce plays and later was integrated with improvisation and process drama methods. The focus in drama therapy is on helping individuals grow and heal by taking on and practicing new roles. While much drama therapy aims at helping people who are in therapy, drama therapists have extended their applications beyond clinical contexts to enrich the lives of at-risk individuals, to prevent problems, and to enhance wellness of healthy people. Many of the skills for such extensions require a measure of training, psychological training as well as a strong basis in theatre, just as psychotherapy treats people who have difficulties with their thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Drama therapy uses drama processes, games, improvisation, storytelling, role play, and products, puppets, masks, plays performances, to help people understand their thoughts and emotions better or to improve their behavior. The drama therapist is trained in 4 general areas: I. Drama theatre, 2. General and abnormal psychology, 3. Psychotherapy, and 4. Drama therapy. The drama therapist's role is to facilitate the client's experience in a way that keeps the client emotionally and physically safe while the client benefits from the dramatic process. Depending on the goals and needs of the client, the drama therapist chooses a method that will achieve the desired combination of understanding, emotional release, and learning of new behavior. Some methods, such as drama games, improvisation, role play, developmental transformations, sociodrama, and psychodrama, are very process-oriented and unscripted. The work is done within the therapy session and not presented to an audience. Other methods, such as playback theatre, theatre of the oppressed, and the performance of plays, are more formal and presentational, involving an audience. Puppets, masks, and rituals can be used as part of performance or as process techniques within a therapy session. Certain techniques like drama games, role play, etc. involve fictional work. The client pretends to be a character different from him or herself. This can expand the client's role repertoire. Other techniques, such as psychodrama, therapeutic spiral model, playback, theatre, theatre of the oppressed, and autobiographical performances, allow the client to explore his or her life directly. Clients need to have good ego strength to be able to do this kind of non-fiction work because it requires an honest, searching look at oneself. 3.2.15 Stage Theory. Rainey Emuna, 1994, has identified 5 stages through which most drama therapy groups progress. Her 5-stage theory parallels established wisdom from group dynamics on how successful groups form and grow. 1. The first stage is dramatic play, where the group gets to know each other and the therapist, through playing together, develop trust, group cohesion, and basic relationship skills. 2. The second stage is the scene work stage, where they continue playing. The focus remains on developing dramatic skills, which they will need as they continue in treatment. As they grow older and begin school, they are encouraged to develop their abstract reasoning skills and use them in their learning. 3. Stage 3 focuses on role play, exploring issues through fictional means. Perhaps the group acts out a generic family conflict or a familiar character from a fairy tale or legend that goes through a crisis or challenge shared by group members. When the group is ready, they can move on to the next stage. 4. Stage 4, culminating enactments, where personal issues are acted out directly through psychodrama or autobiographical performance. 5. The final stage is dramatic ritual, which usually involves closure to the work of the group. This might be the sharing of a public performance that has been created by the group or the sharing of a private ritual within the group. 3.2.2 Drama therapy techniques. Drama therapy techniques differ from therapist to therapist or from session to session, but certain concepts are common to all forms. 1. Use of metaphor. The first is the use of metaphor through action, behaviors, problems, and emotions can be represented metaphorically, allowing for symbolic understanding. An emotion can be represented with a metaphorical image, anger displayed as a volcano, an exploding bomb, or a smoldering fire. These images can be dramatized, which allow the client to gain more insight into the qualities of the emotion and how it functions positively or negatively in his/her life. 2. Concrete embodiment. This technique allows the abstract to become concrete through the client's body. Embodiment allows clients to experience or re-experience in order to learn, to practice new behaviors, or to experiment with how to change old behaviors. Playing a role quite different from oneself often feels more comfortable than playing oneself directly. 3. Dramatic projection. This technique is akin to concrete embodiment and employs metaphor. It is the ability to take an idea or an emotion that is within the client and project it outside to be shown or acted out in the drama therapy session. 4. A client's difficulty asking for help, an internal problem, can be dramatized in a scene with other members of the group, with puppets, or through masks, so the problem becomes an external problem which can be seen, played with, and shared by the therapist and the group. 5. Creation of transitional space. The creation of transitional space is an important component in many therapeutic and learning environments, but it is essential in drama therapy. Transitional space is the imaginary world that is created when we play or imagine together in a safe, trusting situation. 6. It is a timeless space in which anything we can imagine can exist. It is created jointly by the therapist and the clients playing together and believing in the possibility that anything can happen. 7. Incorporating other arts. Drama therapy is like a crossroad where all the arts come together and are allowed to work together. Drama therapists use music, movement, song, dance, poetry, writing, drawing, sculpture, mask making, puppetry, and other arts with their drama therapy activities. Drama therapists are required to have training in the other creative arts therapies, and while many drama therapists have credentials in one of the other arts therapy modalities. 3.2.3 Applications of drama therapy. Drama therapy is primarily conducted in groups, but can be used in individual, couples, or family counseling. It can be found in a wide variety of settings with many different kinds of clients. Any kind of therapy group that uses talk therapy can use drama therapy. For some groups, the action methods of drama therapy are more effective. Drama therapy ignores the excuses and denial, getting right to the behavior. Other types of groups, for instance, nonverbal clients or children who are not good candidates for verbal therapy, can often participate successfully in drama because they cannot verbalize, rather show how they feel. It is practiced in clinical settings, residential settings, correctional facilities, educational situations, corporations and businesses, community action settings, and social and recreational centers. 3.3 Art therapy. Art therapy is a modality emerged from the interacting of art, creativity, and psychotherapy. It uses art media to express internal images, feelings, thoughts, and sensations in a concrete form. It provides the opportunity for non-verbal expression and communication, which can assist in improving the client's functional abilities and resolving emotional issues. The use of art as therapy implies that the creative process can be a means both of reconciling emotional conflicts and of fostering self-awareness and personal growth. The use of art can be traced all throughout history, from prehistoric eras to the present, but art therapy first received significant attention due to the theories of Freud and Jung. Watson, 1980. These psychologists believed in the importance of symbolism, which is very prominent in art forms. Art therapy has continued to evolve and became a recognized profession in the 1960s. According to Watson, 1980, the creation of the American Journal of Art therapy and the establishment of the American Art Therapy Association were responsible for art therapy's rise to a recognized profession and therapeutic intervention. Art therapy is based on the idea that the creative process of art making is healing and life enhancing and is a form of nonverbal communication of thoughts and feelings. American Art Therapy Association, 1996. It is the therapeutic use of art making within a professional relationship by people who experience illness, trauma, or challenges in living, and by people who seek personal development. Through creating art and reflecting on the art products and processes, people can increase awareness of self and others, cope with symptoms, stress, and traumatic experiences, enhance cognitive abilities, and enjoy the life affirming pleasures of making art. It is used to encourage personal growth, increase self understanding, and to assist in emotional repression and has been employed in a variety of settings. With children, adults, families, and groups, it is a modality that can help individuals of all ages create meaning and achieve insight, find relief from overwhelming emotions, resolve conflict and problems, enrich daily life, and achieve an increased sense of well being. Multiodi, 1998. Art therapy is a mental health profession that uses the creative process of art making to improve and enhance the physical, mental, and emotional well being of individuals of all ages. It is based on the belief that the creative process involved in artistic self expression helps people to resolve conflicts and problems, develop interpersonal skills, manage behavior, reduce stress, increase self esteem, and self awareness, and achieve insight. Art therapy integrates the fields of human development, visual art, drawing, painting, sculpture, and other art forms, and the creative process with models of counseling and psychotherapy. It is used with children, adolescents, adults, groups, and families to assess and treat anxiety, depression, and other mental and emotional problems, physical, cognitive, and neurological problems, and psychosocial difficulties related to medical illness. Art therapy programs are found in a number of settings including hospitals, clinics, public and community agencies, educational institutions, businesses, and private practices. Art therapists are master's level professionals who hold a degree in art therapy or a related field. Educational requirements or syllabus include theories of art therapy, counseling, and psychotherapy, ethics and standards of practice, assessment and evaluation, individual, group, and family techniques, human and creative development, multicultural issues research methods, and practicum experiences in clinical, community, and/or other settings. Art therapists are skilled in the application of a variety of art modalities, drawing, painting, sculpture, and other media for assessment and treatment. Art therapy combines traditional, psychotherapeutic theories and techniques with an understanding of the psychological aspects of the creative process, especially the affective properties of the different art materials. 3.3.1 Basic approaches. There are two basic ways in which an art therapist can approach the idea of art therapy. The first is to be process intensive. In this approach, the art therapist uses art as a means to help his/her patients to discover something about him or herself. Art is used as a catharsis, an emotional journey to which self-actualization and discovery are the end result. Edith Kramer was the first person to champion this school of thought. Kramer emphasized the healing qualities of art making and was concerned with artistic quality. The second approach is not to be so concerned with the process of making the art, but with what the person is consciously or unconsciously expressing through their art. Margaret Nomberg believed that this was the best way to utilize art therapy. In this way, the art therapist uses art as a window into the subconscious of the patient, and from there can attempt to figure out the underlying problems that the patient may be suffering from. It can be risky to look into art too closely, but in the case of children, who may not have the words to express how they are feeling, It is very beneficial to use art as a mode of expression. 3.3.2 Steps in art therapy. 1. Assessment. Assessment often comes at the beginning of art therapy and usually happens during the first session that the therapist has with the client. Assessment is used by the therapist to find out what the client is going through and to gain any other information that he or she may wish to find out about the client. It is important to be very upfront at this time with the client, being very clear that the session is not treatment-oriented, but is for assessment purposes. Assessment at the beginning of therapy is an important first step because it is at this point that the therapist will decide if art therapy is a good option for the client or if it would be a waste of time. 2. Treatment in the beginning. During the first session, the first thing for the therapist is to establish a good rapport with the client because it allows for the development of trust in the relationship. It is also essential for the art therapist to better grasp the framework from which the client is operating. After establishing a rapport with the client and getting a grasp on the client's vantage point, the art therapist can introduce art therapy to the client by giving background information about art therapy and answering any questions that the client may have. At this point, the therapist may suggest doing some artwork. This first piece of art that the client creates is a very important one because it sets the tone for the rest of the session. Because many people have art anxiety, in these beginning sessions, it is important that the therapist makes the client feel as comfortable as possible. This could be done by saying to the client that they should not worry about artistic accomplishment, but rather self-expression. Another important aspect of this first artistic work is the reaction of the therapist to it. After this first session, it is important for the art therapist to begin developing treatment goals as well as to reflect on what initial reactions the therapist may have after the first meeting. 3. Mid-phase of treatment. It is hard to know when the treatment has moved from the beginning portion to the mid-phase, but there are a couple of key differences which are given below. Times when the trust between the client and therapist has been established, and times the focus of the sessions becomes more goal-oriented. That do mark the mid-phase. In the mid-phase of treatment, the therapist first establishes direction and boundaries, both personal and professional. There are many different techniques that are used in art therapy, and knowing which one to use at what time is one of the art therapist's toughest jobs. Because each case is unique and each client is different, the art therapist must custom fit the art therapy for each individual client. 4. Termination. The termination of art therapy is initiated abruptly and clearly. Either the art therapist or the client can initiate the termination of the art therapy. Termination is generally decided upon when the therapist or the client realizes that the therapy is finite. It is a very important part of the therapy process. The way in which therapy is brought to a close is crucial to the outcome of the treatment. If termination is handled incorrectly, the client or patient may regress as the end of therapy approaches. The therapist should prepare the patient well in advance. This can be done by bringing up the issue of termination, focusing on its importance, and discussing and interpreting feelings and behaviors due to the pending ending of the sessions. This is a difficult tightrope for the therapist to walk because focusing on the end often brings to mind other separations that client may have suffered. When nearing the end of the therapy, the client and therapist should begin relooking at the art that the client has created throughout the sessions and talking about the progress that the client has made. It is also a good idea to use art in these last few sessions to help express feeling about the termination of the therapy sessions. The therapist often will join the client on these works of art. The termination of the art therapy brings up a very practical question as well. What should be done with the art that the client created during the course of the sessions? This is a tricky question, but ultimately it is one that should be answered by the client. They could keep the art as a form of remembrance to the journey they went through, or give it to the therapist to show the importance of the therapeutic bond that they reached these are of course not the only two options that the client has, but two of the most common ones. 3.3.3 Art therapy techniques. The following are some techniques that art therapists use. 1. Exploration tasks. An exploration task can be quite liberating. The goal is to encourage the patient client to let go of conscious thoughts and controls, and to have them express themselves as freely and spontaneously as possible. In this way, exploration tasks are very much akin to verbal free associations. Exploration tasks are generally used in the beginning sessions of art therapy. Some examples of exploration tasks are: A. Scribble technique, automatic drawing. In this, the patient client is asked to relax and begin to draw free lines or scribbles on paper. In some cases, the patient client will be instructed not to remove his or her pen from the paper until the exercise is over. Automatic drawing provides an excellent way for the patient client to let down their guards and thus is a good starting point for therapy. B. Free drawing. In free drawing, all the choices are up to the patient client. The patient client is told to express him or herself freely and not to worry about planning the picture. This technique is useful because the images that the patient client creates are often mirrors into the person's present problems, strengths, and weaknesses. Often at the end of free drawing, the patient client is asked to share and explain what they drew about. C. Drawing completion. In the drawing completion technique, a patient client is given one or more pieces of paper that already have a few lines or simple shapes on them. These shapes or lines act as a starting point for the art therapy artist, and they are to be incorporated into a larger picture. Because of the wide individual responses to the same stimuli, this is an excellent technique for a group discussion topic. Kinget developed this approach for therapeutic purposes. 2. Rapport building. Rapport building exercises are used in both individual and group art therapy settings. The basic idea behind rapport building exercises is to reduce the amount of isolation that the patient's clients may feel while they are creating their art. This includes isolation from the other patients, clients in the group, and the distance they feel between themselves and the therapist. Some examples of rapport building are: A. Conversational drawing. In conversational drawing, the group is broken up into pairs. The two people who are assigned to work together are seated across from one another. The only way of communication is with shapes, colors, and lines. In this way, the pair is not only communicating, but sharing at the same time. This is a good way from patients to get to know one another a little better. B. Painting completion by the group. In painting completion by the group, each member of the group is asked to name one thing, an object, feeling, or event, and then depict it. From here, one or more of the group members begin adding to the collage, trying to improve upon what is already there. This technique better enables people to become aware of how it feels when they make something and have someone else put upon you anything they want to. The patient's clients are encouraged to share what they are feeling about someone else adding to their work. C. Painting with an observer. In painting with an observer, one member of a pair tells the other one whatever comes into his or her minds as he or she watches the other one paint. The painter can respond to what the other one is saying as he or she sees fit during their painting. This exercise promotes discussion of feelings of dependency and autonomy, as well as acceptance issues. 3. Expression of inner feelings. These techniques are designed to help the patient client get in touch with inner feelings, desires, and fantasies and to make visual representations of them. This is done in the hope that the patient will become increasingly aware of him or herself. The therapist will then attempt to help the patient client deal with these feelings and move in a direction toward a solution. An example of expression of inner feelings technique is called 3 wishes. A. 3 wishes. In the 3 wishes technique, the patient or client is asked to paint or portray 3 or more wishes. Responses tend to be of desires for things, personal, security, and so on. Responses to this exercise reflect maturity level, degree of egocentricity, and so on. Discussion that follows this exercise focuses on the strength of the wish and whether or not these goals, wishes are attainable. 4. Self-perception. The self-perception technique is aimed at moving a client toward a more complete awareness of personal needs and body image. Some examples of this technique are as follows. Immediate states. Here the patient client selects one or more of statements: I am, I feel, I have, or I do to paint about. A. Self-portraits. Self-portraits can vary from being realistic, done with or without a mirror, to abstract. A variation of this technique is to give a time limit to the painter, such as 1 minute. In this way, the artist is forced to quickly decide what important feature about themselves they wish to draw. B. Draw yourself as an animal. Here the patient client is asked to draw themselves as any kind of animal, or as the animal that they see themselves as most similar to. This is a good group building technique because the discussions are usually funny as well as revealing. 5. Interpersonal relations. The interpersonal relations technique is designed to make the patient client more aware of others and how others may perceive him or her. Some examples of this technique are as follows. A. Portraits of groups members. Here group members are asked to depict each other. This exercise helps group members to more fully clarify their feelings toward each other. B. Group mural. Here the group works cooperatively on a large project. The choice in subject, matter and materials may be left to the group or predetermined by the therapist. This exercise promotes cooperation, group unity, fitting in individually to a larger whole, and self-expression in a larger group setting. 6. The individual's place in the world. This technique is designed to help the patient client to see where he or she fits into the world and hopefully accept and deal with this realization. Some examples of this technique are as follows. A. House tree person. Here the patient client is asked to depict a house, tree, and a person in one picture. The patient client is faced with the task of how to relate the human figure to the other two common environmental features. B. Collage and assemblage. Here the patient client is allowed to create a personal world out of any materials that he or she may desire. The therapist may predetermine themes, or the patient client may work until themes begin to appear by themselves. It is important to keep in mind that although there are many techniques available to the art therapist and all of them are valid, no one technique should dominate. This is because the techniques discussed here are only loose guidelines that the art therapist should take into consideration. More important than these guidelines are that the approaches that the art therapist chooses to take are well designed and thought out to meet the specific demands and needs of the individual or group. 3.4 Summary. Art and drama therapies have benefited all areas of healthcare system. According to the American Art Therapy Association, Inc.'s professional definition of art therapy is a human service profession that utilizes art media, images, the creative art process, and patient-client responses to the created products as reflections of an individual's development, abilities, personality, interests, concerns, and conflicts. Defining art therapy is a daunting task because it is an evolving science and because it is hard to come up with a definition that fully encompasses what art therapy is, but it doesn't mean that it is any less beneficial as a form of therapy. Art therapy is not just a stepping stone to a verbal exchange and should not be treated in this way. The art therapist should be very careful of over or under reliance on the verbal amplifications of the art by the client or patient. One of the great advantages of art therapy is it fosters use of both sides of the brain. The nonverbal art expression is primarily a right brain process. The writing is coming from the left brain language centers. Drama therapy is a systematic and intentional use of drama and theater processes to achieve the therapeutic goals of symptom relief and personal growth. It is an active, experiential approach that facilitates the client's ability to solve problems. Set goals, express feelings appropriately, achieve catharsis, improve interpersonal skills and relationships, and strengthen the ability to perform personal life roles. It increases flexibility between roles. Dance therapy is proving especially beneficial for the elderly to increase their range of mobility. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we will see you with the next chapter.